Hey everyone, we're here. Wanted to just jump on live. I don't know, just disclaimer, I don't know if we're gonna get into a reading or anything extensive here tonight. I'm so tired. I'm like about to fall asleep, but I wanted to jump on real quickly. And I'm just making a cup of tea here. And just kind of to chat quickly. As I know it's an intense time, and I'm talking here from the East Coast as we speak, and so we've got, technically the moon is in Sag now, but don't underestimate how these energies can sort of carry over, and we're talking even, let's say, like 6 months down the line, like a year down the line. So yeah, you can imagine, we're still feeling them just about a day after technically the new moon. So I'm feeling guided to jump on, and I know we've been kind of active here with readings for the new moon. We already have the readings actually for this moon cycle up and on the channel, but also on the website alchemy.com. The extendeds are there, and those extendeds are taking a look at how the energy has been moving through from that last full moon. I believe it was in Libra, yes, Libra Taurus, leading up into this new moon in Scorpio. So take it as well if you feel guided, and I hope we're not buffering and all that jazz. But I just wanted to quickly kind of talk a little bit further about what might be coming up for review around this time, and it is specifically relating to the new moon in Scorpio. Will always depend on also where Scorpio sits in your birth chart, but specifically I'm hearing North Node. So I don't know what that's alluding to for a number of you. You could be a Sun sign Leo, but you could have, let's say, your North Node in Scorpio, for example, and that energy might be playing out in that part of the birth chart. Now, yes, so I'm getting this message really strongly here coming through, that there is something that, you guys, I'm not showing, I'm so tired. I'm sorry if I'm like rubbing my eyes, like I'm really like at that point. And it is a good, like, new moon's lowest point of energy in the moon cycle, right? It's like it's time to say goodbye, the party's over, I want to go to bed kind of feeling, but one that is also introspective, but getting back into it in Scorpio is that sort of deep lull of energy in and of itself. The water sign, very psychic, very intuitive, and so, however, that's not to say that there isn't so much that can be derived from this space. Really, really, you can, if you're spending a lot of time just sort of remaining open to see what comes through, what flows through. There's so much that you can really sort of manage of this space that maybe at times feels like heavy as well. And so Scorpio being the rule of the 8th house metaphysics, when it hits the new moon, it's like, yeah, this is really what I want to be talking about. And that's not always something easy, and saying the way that things will be coming up for review around this time, where you're kind of at grips with like your subconscious mind, your logical mind, so-called, and what does that mean? Your rational mind, so-called, and your intuition, right? Your also your sense of spirituality. I don't know what that's looking for a number of you, but that's coming through. And so the psyche space of healing can come from so many different angles, and even with ourselves, right? It's like, oh, whoa, I wasn't ready to look at that in that way. I wasn't, really wanting to, kind of clarify that. But lo and behold, it's like I feel this impulse to really acknowledge this energy that's coming up. And, Scorpio is that reactive space as well. It can be. It is passionate, okay? And it is ruled by Pluto and Mars, both Mars being the ruler of the first house, but so there is that sort of that intensity, okay, can we say it? So, you, how does this energy play out right here, right now? We're coming to that point of maybe feeling things so deeply where it's like, it's that point of no return with this emotion. For a number of you, this is a pattern of behavior. It will always depend, again, how that energy is playing out for you. But, what I wanted to also mention is that, you may find that whatever does come up around this time, and we kind of just touched upon that, it may be unexpected, the way in which it comes up. It's like, okay, well, I'm hearing, why does it have to cut to this point? I'm hearing that as well, and lo and behold, the universe is is nifty in the way that it does bring things to our attention, right? Yes, it is sometimes like, wow, I was not expecting like that to happen. And for a number of you, I'm seeing like there was maybe this pattern where it's like, okay, it was like you're looking at some space, and on one spectrum, okay, on one sort of sort of a wave that you're riding out in this experience, you're like, well, I can kind of go without putting my finger on this, and maybe defining it, at least for others, maybe for a number of you. And at the end of the day, Scorpio is a water sign that is a yin sort of oriented energy. Yes, and Scorpio is incredibly known to be sort of more private, err on the side of privacy, at least first, or being very careful with how they sort of discuss the inner dimensions of their psychology, and that is a complex space that we speak of when we're speaking of Scorpio. So and to say it in the way that they may not always say what exactly it is, in every way they're feeling, but regardless, there are dimensions. Now, when it comes down to it, in, let's say, Scorpio with Scorpio, it's like, to what level and to what degree do we actually acknowledge in a public way for others? This is so important. I'm seeing this as a major focus. Like, how is it that okay, I'm actually accenting this not only in the way where I say to myself, me and me, oh, I know what I feel about this space, but how is it that I actually express that? And how is it that I actually speak about it through my actions? One second, let's clear it. How is it that I activate my potential relation to this knowingness? So for a number of you, it's like, listen, and then we talked about this earlier today. When I, let's say, know something, but I act otherwise in relation to that knowingness, where do I create in that space? Like, ultimately, where am I I'm hearing for number in that relationship? Like, if I feel like I cannot speak my truth, if I cannot be who I really want to bring, I'm hearing forward in this conversation. Interesting. So maybe it's something you want to represent for a number of you. And it's like, on one hand, it's like, I don't have to say this. I'm hearing that this is for a number of you. I don't know what this is only true for everyone, but there is this impulse, this drive, this desire to communicate something, maybe, and it's becoming like so strong for a number of you. So look at your birth chart. The area of life that Scorpio is associated with might be speaking to where this intensity okay, is sort of building, where we want to really sort of also clarify something. And it's very interesting because I'm seeing for a number of you, it's like, it could be something where you're like sitting around a table in a room, and I'm hearing there are people around you. I'm hearing in this way. And it's almost as if it's like you're looking at everyone sort of communicate. And in a certain way, you're like, well, okay, I'm overhearing them. I'm listening to them, let's say, communicate. I'm hearing just, again, in this way. Now, it's like, I don't have to sort of say anything, really. I could just spend the rest of the day here just watching the way it all unfolds. I'm hearing in this way for a number of you. Now, I'm seeing like at a certain point, who I'm going to say Scorpio because we're talking about Scorpio, but, in a general way, speaking on behalf of speaking into the archetype of Scorpio, which we all have in our chart somewhere, it's like, at a